Do we have to share our secrets? Can't we just push them under the rug and not deal with them? Can't we forget about them? Or do they come back and insidiously infect our life in different ways over time? That's what I wanted to know when I sat down with Dr. Foojan Zeine. So what do you believe is the biggest issue with keeping secrets?
Well, I want to distinguish a little bit between secrets and privacy, Kirsty, because we all need privacy.
Yeah.
It's a part of us that needs to hold information and, hold our vulnerabilities and feel that we have a safe place. In that realm, it's all great because usually there's positive emotions with it. Feelings of safety and trust comes with privacy. But when it comes to secrecy, usually the distinction is something that we think it's bad, so we don't want anybody else to know, and we're afraid if other people would know. That's why we keep it a secret. And it usually holds shame, it holds anxiety, fear of people finding out. I mean, we all start the secrets in kindergarten and usually about first grade. Remember? I mean, it was good to have secrets. It was good to go and get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like a friend.
Yeah.
And just that was our best friend. And how would you say, how come so-and-so is your best friend? Because I can tell them all my secrets. Remember? I mean, at one point in our life, secrets meant that we could bond personally with someone. But the shame part came up with it. And that's what then we hold. And it's like, how can we be really, really powerful about that part of us that holds that?
I think that's a really great distinction. And I know even with myself, I mean, everyone knows that my big secret for 18 years was having herpes, whereas now it's not a secret for me. So the item that we're discussing hasn't changed, but my relationship to it has. And there's a lot of people who say to me, I just see it as something private. I wouldn't tell everyone if I had a pimple on my face. Why do I have to tell them if I have herpes? Whereas for me, it was the meaning that I placed on it that made it important for me to share it. It was because I had made it a secret, and it did have fear and shame and guilt and all of those things attached, which were just eroding away at my self-esteem and my self-confidence and affecting my life insidiously.
Absolutely, because the minute that you put that meaning, and we usually form that meaning because we're giving it a negative connotation, and that negative connotation that is being given to it, it could have come from our own learning or something we've learned from our parents or society, or that we're getting a direct feedback constantly from our friends and family that this is not okay. And then it happens. And then sometimes it is due to something we've done. Sometimes it is due to something other people have done to us or around us. And I think it also makes a difference where when we keep it a secret, usually we're taking it personal and we're holding the guilt, such as even if people have been molested or raped, even things that they haven't done to themselves, it's been done to them, but still they take a part of it so personal as if they're responsible for it, and they're going to be blamed, they're going to be shamed, so in that way they hold it secret.
Yeah, what was I wearing, or I may have attracted them, or they can be told that, you know, in the army, for example, I have talked to quite a few women from that, and that was literally what they were told, and they were interrogated to feel like, what were you wearing, what were you doing, how did you encourage this?
Must have been your fault.
Must have been. And so whether it's outrightly said to us or we internalize it in that way, is a really great distinction. And so what do you think it does to us over time to continue to hold on to secrets and change? Do you think that they grow bigger, that they erode our sense of self? What happens when we keep them for so long?
Well, holding secrets, because it holds the anxiety, shame, and the concept of what if other people will find out, it takes a lot of energy. It sucks a lot of energy from us because we're trying to hold something constantly. Yeah. And then it takes us away from growth. It takes us away from full self-expression.
Oh my God, this is so good. We have to take a beat for a minute. So the first thing you said there is, it takes so much energy. And you're right. For me, it was like an obsession. When I would meet a guy, it was like the anxiety would go through the roof. I would be thinking about how am I going to tell them? When am I going to tell? So you're not in the moment enjoying life anymore. You're running this tape of shame and trauma and thinking about it all of the time. So it takes energy.
It takes energy. And then what it does, it's also because you're split off, a part of you which was always split off cannot self-express itself. So you're limiting your self-expression constantly. Yeah. You're going to play small. You're going to play very limited because you don't want to shine out there, because sometimes somebody is going to see you,
see my stuff.
See you.
So you're going to hide and withdraw from...
Exactly.
Dr. Foojan Zeine shared a really powerful story about a lady who had kept her secret for 50 years.
I worked with a woman who was sexually molested at age 4, and I met her when she was 55, and she had never told anyone about this. And the first time in therapy that she actually talked about it, and yes, she was bawling and crying, and it all lifted after one conversation about it. And she says, I'm so free now, where for so many years I had kept it, and I always thought I'm the bad one and allowed my husband to abuse me in such a way because I always thought that's all that I deserved because I was so bad. And then from that day, she took a stand for herself because she finally said it out loud and completed her grief in that way. So in that format, then when the grief is done, then finally it comes to an acceptance of me with who I am. One of the things to also sense is that many times we try to say not the story, but the things around it just to test the water. And many times in the society, we will see and hear negative concepts, such as a person who might be gay or lesbian. And they will hear things out there and like, oh, I can't share mine. If we're talking about a TV show and somebody's having these reactions, there's no way that I can talk about myself. Or if we talk generally about STDs and, you know, people laugh about it or mock it or do that, then there's like, my God, I can't say anything. So this is also somehow that we keep reminding ourselves that I can't put myself out there. So
but the reaction to that doesn't necessarily mean that telling someone you trust and love is going to react the same way.
Exactly.
So I cannot wait to see you in week 1. I know that you're ready to get started too, so get yourself prepared and I'll see you soon.